All right, you're welcome back. So I'll introduce the panel to you immediately and we get down to business. I have with us today in the house, Leko Shote. He's a columnist with The Punch. It's so good to see you, sir.
Thank you, Vivian.
And a happy Easter to you.
Happy Easter.
We also have Sunday Odibashi. He is with the National Daily. It's good to have you, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Happy Easter.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, so we're expecting Dr. Sam Ibiemi, editor of Nigerian News Direct. We know that is on his way, so he will be joining us shortly. So the Buhari-led administration has directed the anti-graft agencies to ensure that corruption cases are not lost again. But take a look at this. The ICPC receives an average of 100 petitions daily. The EFCC receives many more petitions from members of the public, yet the current EFCC leadership inherited a staff strength of 2,173. Even with even with this average, is the capacity enough to fight the magnitude of corruption we have in Nigeria? But first, I'll have to ask my guest what he thinks. Okay, so I don't want to put words in your mouth. Let me begin with you, Shote. How successful do you think the war against graft has been in Nigeria?
Well, until the end of the Buhari administration, we will not know how successful. But I would say one thing, that I have reservations about the ability of ICPC as well as EFCC to, actually take full charge of this assignment. I think, as you have just alluded to your intro, they are, I think, swamped. I don't think 2,000 members of staff, I'm not sure if that's enough, because you have to have people who will do investigations, and you won't just go, one person will not just go. And the preponderance level of this graft, it's too much. Somebody called me on the phone about 2 or 3 days ago, and the kind of things he was telling me about what is happening in one of the ministries, it's mind-boggling. And it's like, that one never even comes into the public domain. But what I begin to think now is that the whistleblower doctrine, if we like that, probably looks like it's doing the job now, more than the personnel of the FCC and ICPC are doing it.
Okay.
That's the pressure I'm getting. That we seem to, even if somebody is not going to be able to claim the money, well, at least we are recovering the money. People, Nigerians are, and I think that's the first thing we need to understand, that we need to enlist Nigerians in this game. It's not just the EFCC, ICPC, or even the judiciary alone, or even the police alone that's going to do this job. We, the citizens, also have to cooperate. And I think the idea of the whistleblower is really something that is really helpful. For me, that's the #1 police officer, security officer in Nigeria right now. Okay. The whistleblowing thing.
Okay, so let me come to you, Odibashi. The whistleblowers have multiplied in Nigeria these days. It's all about whistleblowing. So Shote says he's impressed with the whistleblowing policy, is doing the trick. But I want to find out what you think about the war against graft. If you think it's been successful so far. You know, the British government was reported to have spent about £20 million on the investigation and prosecution of a former governor in Nigeria. Yeah. So Falana is asking the federal government to set aside some of the recovered loot to fund the investigation and prosecution of corruption cases. What do you think about this? Is it a good idea? Does it make sense to you?
Well, for me, I wouldn't subscribe to the issue of money first, because a lot of things are involved, a lot of factors are at play. We've not really made a remarkable success in the fight against corruption because of so many things involved. Like he said, like the statistics you gave, so many cases coming in, so many cases existing and all that, and you're not looking at the capacity of the EFCC. But we have also not even looked at the other factors like political influences. Where are these cases coming from, and who are those behind the cases, and how far the cases can go. So it's also beyond the EFCC thing. But again, because they spent money in UK to recover some loot, does not really qualify, because the EFCC is also part of government. So it does not exist outside the government. Government has its annual budget and all that. So they could be able to accommodate all those things in one. So there is no need of setting apart exclusive fund for them.
Okay, that brings to mind the autonomy of the EFCC. So Odibashi rightly pointed out that you know, government is in charge of the body, the anti-graft agency, and they have budgets already. So you don't need to set aside some note. Now, this is what Falana says, that members on the board of these agencies should be drawn from credible civil society organizations like the Nigerian Bar Association, International Federation of Women Lawyers, a Nigerian chapter, Nigerian Union of Journalists, Nigeria Labour Congress, the Nigerian Police, Institute of Chartered Accountants, the Federal Executive Council, and representatives of private anti-corruption organizations. Now, as against people from ministries and departments of federal government, how do you feel about this? The autonomy of the anti-graft agencies, so I'm talking about.
You're asking me?
Yes, you.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, if you want to make EFCC independent, especially in our environment, I don't think the American FBI, for example, is loaded with civil society types on its board. But we understand that their culture is a bit different from our own. So the Caesar's wife must not only be above suspicion, she has to be seen to be above suspicion. So if it will make it look more independent, well, but don't forget, Mr. Falana will be the first person to acknowledge that even though they may be civil society types, they may be journalists, they may be even be members of the Transparency International or whatever they may be, they are still, excuse me, appointees of government. They will be holding those seats at the pleasure of Mr. President. So it's okay, but I don't really, it's not going to be too much, because at the end of the day, those people will still be appointees of government. You know, so the autonomy, I'm not too sure. Yeah, we've seen people who have been in government. Look at Professor Sage, you know, Ise Sage.
Yeah.
Now that he's heading a parastatal.
Yeah.
I can't see him say anything against this government. It's not possible. He's an appointee of the government. If he does that, they will show him the way out, and that's the end of the story. So I think we will have to take Mr. Falana's suggestion with a pinch of salt. You know. It makes sense, but we still have to take it.
I see you nodding your head. Yeah. So you don't buy the idea of an independent EFCC or ICPC?
No, I support the idea of independent EFCC and ICPC, because, like he said, he made reference to the FBI in the United States. You know, when the president will say this, and they are saying, no, this is the way. So you have to institutionalize the process, make it independent of any government that is in office. Okay. Now, but we haven't looked at that. But why I was even looking, well, I'm nodding when he was talking about the appointing people from civil society and all that, is because there are also more fundamental issues. You look at the legal instruments that EFCC is using to fight this war. It's as weak as anything. Now, you look at also the control mechanism. The only one that have proved to be very strong now is the BVN. Now, the BVN now made it safe, very unsafe for people to now keep money in the banks. So people now seek authority to keep money at home. And that is why the whistleblowing thing is like, it's working. Okay? So, then you now go back. So, apart from the BVN, the TSA has not been done very effective. So, what we are seeing now shows that some of these policies, so let's strengthen those ones that are working, and those ones that are not, see how we adjust those that are not working. But more importantly, look at the legal instruments that EFCC is using. Because when you catch somebody under EFCC Act, you're not going to prosecute that person under the orthodox law. They begin to bring criminal codes here and there, some of which are weak. Okay, so these are issues that need to be addressed before we now get to the issue of appointing people who should be on the board. Okay,
so recently we've seen billions of naira, thousands of dollars, pounds recovered by the EFCC. So let me come to you, Shote. We hear that this is a resultant effect of the whistleblowing policy.
And the BVN.
And the BVN.
And the BVN, yeah.
All right. But we hear that some of these whistleblowers have been sacked in some ministries. It hasn't worked for some people. It has boomeranged for some people. You are impressed with it already. But do you think it is a perfect policy as it is at the moment?
Well, first, the incentive for whistleblowers 10% up to a particular amount, and then down to 2.5% when it gets to a certain amount. I think it's a very strong. Somebody was telling me in church yesterday and said, listen, if I just got 10% of this amount, I'm going to retire. You know, these things come with repercussions. There are costs. You are going to blow the whistle against somebody. You can expect reprisals, you know, some kind of vendetta sometimes. You can even expect to be killed. The person who you ratted on is not going to be pleased with you if he has any way of dealing with you. But the Minister for Finance says something. So what you are saying scares me a little bit, because she said there will be a high degree of confidentiality and people will not know who ratted on who. So if who is now not playing his part in this deal, somebody has complied by blowing the whistle on somebody and you found the thing there. You're supposed to, it's supposed to be confidential between you and that person. It's not supposed to. So for us to now hear that somebody has been sacked or is going to be, shall we say, victimized as a result of this, something is wrong. Something is very, very wrong with the system that we are running. It then makes me feel that we are not sincere about this thing that we say we're going to do.
All right.
You know.
Let's try to invite the viewer to be a part of the show, because we're working to see if we can get to talk about El-Rufai, the governor of Kaduna State, and the National Assembly. In the meantime, though, be a part of the show, right? I'd love to know what you think about what we're talking about. The number to use is 0708 7407 508. I take that again, 0708 7408 508. You should have that on your screen shortly. Tell me what you think about the anti-corruption war led by President Muhammadu Buhari. So far, Shote says that the whistle-blowing policy...
Number one police officer in Nigeria.
Number one police officer in Nigeria, but it isn't perfect as it is. But son, let me come to you, right? The federal government promised that as a whistleblower, you're going to be protected, right? Do you think that's the case at the moment?
Well, we have not seen anything to the contrary presently up to this stage. But I still have my fears also about this whistleblowing thing. One, elements of conspiracy and sabotage. Perhaps if I disagree with you in the office, I might just go behind and reveal your secrets. Okay? So these are issues, and I think it should be modified, because the frequency at which it's occurring in Nigeria shows that maybe something may be wrong with it in the long run, because we might end up destroying the system, or, you know, thinking we are destroying individuals. So we have to handle it with caution. Whistleblowing is supposed to be maybe once in a while, but it will bring out something big. It will reveal something that even the security people won't have, you know, known. Then when I hit and they'll look in a direction. But when it becomes so rampant and all that, I think, because anybody in office can just adopt that. A messenger, a secretary, or even somebody who co-directors can go behind and say, you go and get this done.
Okay.
So these are issues that we should have to look out for.
All right. Let me begin to take your messages now. So Abdul from Kassina says that when the EFCC are using newspapers as evidence of how they have succeeded, the president, it's not a saint. He has a weakness. And when he was interviewed by the BBC, he said Abacha was not corrupt because he served under Abacha. I don't think he would prosecute anyone under him because he thinks prosecuting those under him. He now named people like the SGF, the Chief of Staff, and Magu will tarnish his so-called integrity. Okay, I'm going to have you react to that. This is about some of the public servants who have been indicted, but some people perceive that they are being shielded by the federal government. But let me take more of your messages. Jide from Lagos says that, let's see, please do stop calling, right? Just send me an SMS and I get to read your message. And remember to tell your name and where you're writing me from. So Jide from Lagos says that the EFCC is losing cases in courts because corruption is fighting back. The solution is for the EFCC to double their effort in fighting back. And it says the EFCC should buy the idea of Falana as well as Obasanjo's idea. It says the whistleblower policy must continue even till eternity. If I know anyone, I will blow. And he says, corruption must be killed. All right, I mean, the whistleblowing thingy is quite lucrative right now. But let's address, before I take more of your SMSs, let's address this thing about the perception Nigerians have that the federal government is shielding some corrupt officials. Do you think that's the case?
Well, we'll just zero into what has now become the grass cutter debacle. You see, those who will live in glass houses are not going to be able to throw stones. And then if you want to start this kind of thing, the people around the presidency, within the presidency, I mean, I know there may be no sense, but as much as possible, you know, when allegations like this are made against them, they should answer to it. A senator has called somebody, and the person with impunity has not gone, played some legal games, and then made some announcement in the press. Yeah. But effectively, he has not shown up, you know. And I have not heard quite that the police or the EFCC has actually been able to secure an audience with him to sort of find out, to prove him even innocent, you know, that, okay, he did not cut any grass anywhere, you know, and there was nothing. You know, we need to, Mr. President needs to take this as a very serious allegation. He needs to first start, they say physician should heal himself. You start to clean the agents table, even from within your own camp. And I think the president needs to take note of that. Because he has three agendas: anti-corruption, the economy, and security. And if you ask me, I think the security thing, he may not have won it overwhelmingly, but he has done very well. The economy has also, but this anti-graft thing, I mean, I think it's a major, major plank. It's about our value system. Do you know that kids now, it's no big deal when somebody says they have stolen money. They say that when I get to government, I'm going to steal money too.
That's what I'm saying.
People say that. Kids in school, in university, they say that. And I'm really scared.
Okay. All right, so let me take more of your SMSs. I have Chulo, says his name is Chulo, and he says, what is wrong with Nigerians? The EFCC, I mean, he used the word here, I can't say it, but it's derogatory. He doesn't believe in the EFCC. I'll have you address that shortly, right? But thank you for your message, though. You didn't tell me where you're writing from. I have Victor Anya from Ikeja, who says that the war against corruption is not yet successful because corrupt politicians in the APC government will not be named. And then he also said that how come the money found in the aircraft in Kaduna, in Balogu, Bureau de Change, in Lagos Island, and Osborne Street have no names attached to them? Okay, question. This is Victor.
Let me just, Victor, look, the point is this. The money has come back to who owns it. That's very important. We need to, at the end of the day, if you jail somebody and the money doesn't quite come back, you have only, it's okay if you jail people, but our money has come back. That's very important. We
also hear that the latest one that was discovered in Ikoyi has been claimed by the National Intelligence Agency.
After they said that it was not.
You can see how disorganized a government can be.
Okay, so you think there's a level of disorganization?
Invading a government property without the knowledge of that. It shows the extent of which this present government is so disorganized.
But we heard that it's supposed to be a safe house of the NIA. Probably that's why the EFCC exposed the thing. Probably they didn't know it was a safe house initially. Would you call that a level of disorganization?
Yes, of course, because there should be procedure, like you said, and there should be communication among the organs. I mean, the government departments. You don't just function as though you are on your own. No.
Okay, so I have Ibuyo Teka from Benue State who said the war against corruption is yielding fruits. Please do stop calling, right? Send me an SMS. It says the war against corruption is yielding fruits, but prosecution must be tight and fast, right? And then this one is from, okay, let's see now. The fight against corruption is nothing but fight against opposition. Let me see if I'm going to keep reading your message. You didn't tell me your name, so I'm sorry, I can't finish your SMS. Tell me your name and where you're writing from, right? So I can read your message in full. Let's see this one now. It says, start this corruption tackling right from the border of Seme. And he says, the checkpoint on the road to Lagos is disgusting. This is Madam Apati from Accra in Ghana. All right, so she knows what she's talking about.
Well, she may have a point.
Yes.
Apart from what I think he's talking about, customs, how about stories, maybe we can say unconfirmed for legal purposes, that some legal judiciary officers will go to Ghana, go to Dubai to collect their offering, and then come back and do justice.
Offering being what?
I'm sure you understand.
Okay, so I have Oba from Abuja. Oba from Abuja says, I think this is the right time to support Mr. President and the EFCC. If not, the fight against corruption will die very soon. And he said, looters are ready to kill this fight. I know the Vice President said something similar to this in the papers.
Yeah, the Vice President said something similar. And the reason why it is so, that looters want to kill, is because almost all celebrated corruption cases are extension of the struggle for political power. So if there is a struggle for political power, I think corruption is a tool for you to fight me back. When I'm more sophisticated, then I will have reason to fight back. So there's need to isolate politics from this anti-corruption war.
Need to isolate politics from the war against graft. So I have Benny from Abia State. Benny from Abia State says, I need the money. Okay, he says, I need money to pay my house rent.
No problem.
Okay, may God provide. Amen. Let's see what this one says. This is Lawrence from Lagos, and it says, if the federal government wants to fight corruption, let them set, let's see now, let them set some staff, or let them send some staff to our local markets and check what the traders use as a measure. Also, the young boys in the EFCC are now billionaires.
Yeah.
There's supposed to be a check on them. It says they should declare their assets, right? And then this one is, this one says, in a sane society, let's see now, I'm trying to see if this can open up. In a sane society where the fight against graft is genuine, a person like Honorable Rotimi Amechi, having been linked to the recent USD 43M and others, and is saying that Atikoyi, that he should resign immediately. Too many APC leaders appear to be shielded by this government. This is Yemi Doshumu from Mayobo in Ikpaja. All right, we just talked about that particular amount, the billions of naira found, and dollars and pounds found in the Ikoyi residence. We are heard that Governor Fayose of Ekiti State had accused Governor Amechi of stacking that amount in the Ikoyi residence against 2019. And then the governor of Rivers State, Wike, comes up to say that, no, this money belongs to Rivers State. And, you know, it's ours.
Proceeds of sale of turbines.
Exactly. And that was when...
And now, out of about $319 million, we now have just $204,000.
Exactly. And
so
then
that
again...
$3 million and X naira and dollar pound must be, you know...
See, these are political issues.
Yeah, but the latest report on that is the National Intelligence Agency says the money belongs to them. Okay, we've not heard, and Amechi has debunked claims that he owns the money.
Somebody even say somebody's head must be examined. You know,
yes.
for making such
allegations. Yes.
Now, well, if you ask me, there's something that somebody who just sent me a text says that if EFC operatives appear that they are making a lot of money, how about having a procedure where maybe every 12 months they will declare, the operatives will declare their assets? You know, as a way of checking to be sure that they themselves.
I think not, even at that level, it's still too superficial.
Yeah.
Because the vice president said something at the time. He said that corruption is systemic.
Yeah. It's
buried in the system.
Yeah.
So let them go and start from the system. And that is why I listen to people like Abdulmumin Jibrin. He said, we, including himself, we are corrupt. We did this. And I'm surprised that the president is fighting corruption. It did not even rise to that occasion. Now, because the corruption, like the vice president said, is systemic, the system destroyed at Jibrin today. Where is he? You know, that is the kind of man I want to follow to fight corruption, not what the FCC is doing in the as a matter of fact.
But they should be working.
But you know? You're making him look like he's a saint. That
no, he said himself. He said himself is involved.
He said we.
He said he got.
But you want to see someone like that?
So let them fight the corruption from within. Okay. Look at what Erufai is doing, for instance, because you don't go out to reserve. Hold on, you see, Erufai has said come to the open and say, this is what I'm doing. You show what you are doing. Exactly. So the system is opening up. We need to open that system up. You don't have to cover it.
Transparency, right?
The let there be transparency. The moment you continue to cover that system, you don't have to shift blame to EFCC officials.
Okay.
Because the system has also pushed a portion of it to them. Let's assume that the allegation is true, that they are billionaires. So it's a system, so let them start from it.
You know, as a human being, let me come to you, Shote. It is some huge temptation when you see billions every day. You're moved to like take, you know, one bunch and go live a good life. But these people, I mean, from what we've seen so far, no EFCC person aside of the predecessor, Mago's predecessor, that was indicted, Lamode. Apart from it, we've not really had cases of, you know, corruption in the EFCC, apart from Mago himself, who is standing trial. So do you really think that the government should beam their searchlight on the EFCC at the moment?
Well, why not? You say, this is not personal now. The EFCC has is crucial to the success of Mr. President's anti-corruption drive. And so every effort must be taken to ensure that that agency can carry out that morally, you know, can morally carry out that assignment. You need some moral muscle to be able to carry out that, apart from your technical, forensic capacity, finance, logistics, and all that. You also need a modicum of moral ethics to be able to achieve that. It's about morality.
Morality,
and
right?
It's very, very key, yes.
Okay, so I have George from Kano who says, do you know that most EFCC staff are richer than senators? He says they too are corrupt. Okay, and I have Fawale, I hope I got that right, Fawale Johnson from Sokoto, and he says, please, let's give the EFCC the chance to operate. And he says,
Fawale.
Okay, Fawale. And he says, all politicians are the same. I'm battling those calling me. I wish you would just send me an SMS and let's do this smoothly, right? And then I have Mike from Owerri, Imo State, who said, good effort by the EFCC. I'm proud of them. But something bothering me is that why is the EFCC not giving Nigerians the exact amount recovered from these perpetrators? Okay, is a question. And then I have another one here from Olawumi Wale, who said, whistleblowing is working, but if we all want to be patriotic, no financial reward is necessary. Government should protect them. Really? I mean, as a Nigerian, would you blow the whistle without any financial reward?
Of course, if for patriotism, one can do that.
Okay.
Because if you begin to give monetary reward, you will abuse it.
All right, so Ezekiel from Lagos says that I think the anti-corruption war of Mr. President is one-sided because he has refused to probe his own cabinet, especially one of them, the SGF, and Saraki. Okay, Saraki is in the legislature. He's not even under the presidency. And he said, please, okay, he said, let Saraki, or he says, let him be all-round if he wants to fight corruption. All right, thank you. And then Oluwatosin from Ibadan, that's Oyo State, says, the fight against corruption is not successful because some EFCC officials are corrupt. And then let's see, no name to this. This one here says that, this is a Larry from Ogara, Delta State. It says, the people the president has surrounded himself with are corrupt. Okay, and he actually said they are corruption infested. That's how he wrote it. And then let's see what this one here is saying. Now, Peter Okpo from Kano says that money should be given. That money should be given to the federal government to help the poor. Of course, already there's a court ruling that the money be forfeited to the federal government temporarily. Okay, so I have another message. This is Freeborn from Undani, River State, and it says the River State government should provide proof of ownership, not just name calling for political reasons. Okay, not just name calling for political reasons. And then this one says, in whose house did they find the money? My name is Jumoke from Ile-Ife. Well, the National Intelligence Agency, NIA, says the house belongs to them. That is a safe house. But Governor Fayose of Ekiti State says the house belongs to Minister of Transport, Rotimi Amechi. choose who you want to believe. And then this one says, the EFCC is doing well, but some unprincipled and fair-weather politicians in the APC and PDP are secretly fighting back, as in the case, as in the case of the Senate's rejection of Mago's confirmation. This is Uboyoteka from Benue State. And then let's see what this one here said. Who taught us corruption? Get us the bad teacher and killing, and you and I will rejoice. Are you kidding me? You didn't tell me your name though. And this one said that I will want you to really talk about this checkpoint extortion, right? Ghanaians shy away from this road, and they talk about it every time. Okay, it's still the mad apathy from Accra. No, but I thought it was Madam Apathy. Okay, Madam Apathy from Ghana. And she's saying that we should talk about the checkpoint extortion. What else do we say?
Well, I think the former IG of police that there should not be no checkpoint. Okay, maybe custom. But the custom, the custom, they always be on their routine duty on international routes. So that we cannot, go against. But how disciplined they are in performing their duty is a different thing. That I think, yeah.
We just add that even the Benin Republic gendarme also, they take bribe from people.
Okay. So these are the issues.
All right.
I'm not saying that therefore Nigerians.
So those checkpoints, they will always be there. And they just have to be there. It's legal they are there.
Observation.
But the discipline of the officers is what we cannot say. Yeah.
So I think their bosses must take
responsibility
for this.
Yeah.
All right.
And ensure that they don't do it.
Okay, so Aki Shola from Lagos says that this is the time the whole Nigerians will know the function of the EFCC due to the money recovered at Ikoyi. And then let's see what Nana is saying. Okay, this one says that corruption, okay, there's no name to that. This one is Mr. Anyebe A. Onoja, who says the EFCC, the officials are not saints. So as well as the APC, it says the Lord only will help us in the fight against corruption. And this one says the fight against corruption will never be successful in Nigeria when the federal government itself shields its loyalists. And it says the EFCC should not be blamed. Blame the government. This is Tom from Kachia, Kaduna State. All right, let's wrap this up briefly. You said you don't think the fight has been successful so far. You said you want to wait until 4 years, until the end of this.
When you ask, actually, because this government has not been put to bed yet, so we have to wait in 2019. But so far, I know money has been recovered.
Yeah.
Nobody has been jailed.
Yeah.
It appears also to me, however, that it's a high degree of plea bargaining going on, even though they are not telling us. We've had stories of high-profile politicians, even justices, that were picked up or were invited. Some were abroad, they came. Somebody, they saw $9.8 million somewhere at the K2 version, somewhere in Kaduna.
Okay, yeah,
and he first blustered his way, then he withdrew, and then they gave him a bail. It appears to me that there's some negotiating going on. Maybe Mr. President needs to come and tell us directly that, listen, I'm not out for conviction. I just want to recover the money and ensure that people stop and sin no more. If that is what he wants to do, let him tell us. If we like it, we will say that's okay. If we don't like it, we say no, we want people to, with proper evidence. But it appears to me that it's almost an unwritten decision that just take their money from them, let them go and say no more. That's the impression I'm getting.
But we see these agencies, the anti-graft agencies, take these suspects
they
to
take
court,
some,
but they lose these cases.
Yeah, can you imagine?
So are you absorbing the judiciary completely out of this now?
Well, Mr. President said something far away in 2015. He said the judiciary is going to be my major problem. Do you understand? And we saw what happened last year. A lot of judges about 7 of them, their houses, homes were raided. Some have stepped down even from the Supreme Court. Some have been taken to court, though they have been absolved. Some are still awaiting. Some have been asked to go. The NJC has asked some people to go. So it appears to me that even the media no aspect of this, no segment or section of this country is free of this corruption. It's a systemic thing.
Systemic,
as Sonia said, it goes all over. Every profession, every ministry, every department of government, they are always having, so it's a general thing. We have to have a moral rearmament, if you ask me.
All right, so Engineer Sibeudu Umunzi from Anambra State says, I love this whistleblowing policy introduced by the present administration. It will be successful, but because it is new in Nigeria, it will take a little time. Okay, then Chidi from Ibadan says that, I believe that Mr. President is not fighting corruption because I thought the EFCC, the work of the EFCC is based on information, for example, whistleblowing, petitions, etc. The issue of the SGF, former governor of Rivers, were heard by the EFCC, but nothing has been done. Okay, so to fight corruption, it requires building institutions. And it says, e.g. the BVN. I think they're already using that. And then Samis from Calabar says, fighting corruption without prosecution doesn't make sense. They should start sending victims to jail. And then this one says, please, let's fight against corruption. Let the fight against corruption be extended to the local government areas across the nations. Also, state governors, the flamboyance of state governors should be checked, please. And this is Patai from Okene, that's in Kogi State. This one says, the economy is nose diving. What is happening to the recovered funds? Aren't they, he's saying, aren't they relooted? He's asking if the recovered loots have been relooted. Yeah. And this is Pastor John from Lagos State. And this one says, I wish every Nigerian will be in the EFCC to tackle corruption. And it says, my name is Inu Abiu from Borno State. And then Blessing from Enugu State says that the rate of gas cooking, I don't know, the raise. I don't know what she's saying, but she's saying it's becoming unbearable. And it says, I'm a student and I can no longer refill. Oh, she's talking about the price of gas, refilling gas. It says, I'm a student and I can no longer refill my gas because of how expensive it is now. So let the government do something about it because the poor masses can no longer cook beans because of the cost of gas. Thanks. Okay, I hope the government is heard. On a final note, though, about the fight against corruption, you're not giving me a clear-cut answer. Do you think it has been successful so far?
No, I think I said something. I said in terms of the control mechanism, BVN has been successful, has made impact. TSA has not. Okay, so give that apart. If you also check the figure, go and check the cases in court. There are some who were former governors, they are still sitting in the Senate. 10 years after, their cases are still in court on corruption issue. It has not ended and nobody is just saying anything about it. Look at the issue of Farouk, who said he collected $600,000 from Otedola to manipulate reports. The man admitted he collected money. He was in court. And up to today, nothing happened. So that's why I say, remove politics from this anti-corruption war. They will make progress. It's not about APC. It's not about PDP. It's about a given elite that have resolved to loot the country dry. And it's the same elite that are fighting corruption. You can't win. Look at the vice president, he's showing an example. Look at Jibril, they showed the example. So let's change the framework. We need a break. Then change the framework so that even when this government leaves, another government will come, and it will not be like when the APC leaves, PDP will come and begin to chase APC. When they remove PDP, APC will begin to chase PDP. No, we need an institutionalized or autonomous process.
That is not partisan.
Yeah, not partisan.
Okay, let me quickly, we're going to take a short break in a short while, but first let me take a couple of your messages and then we'll take a short break. I have Onwardi from Ibusa, Delta State. Is that Delta State now? And it says Lekoshote seems to be free. It says you're freer here on Galaxy TV than on other TV stations. I don't know what he's talking about here.
That's a compliment. No, the person I've been watching him.
He's been watching you, and he says you seem to be freer here. Maybe he's talking about your objectivity here now. And then I have Rebecca from Ibadan, that's Oyo State, who says, I finished my MD program since last year and still searching for a job. Can you find something to do about that? Okay, and not talk about corruption, because corruption is the foundation of Nigeria and I don't think it can be erased. Okay, we have heard you. And then we have Papa T from Ibadan, who says a corporal in Nigerian police in EFCC is a millionaire. Where did he get the money from? million question.
And he should blow the whistle.
He should blow the whistle, right? And get 5%.
That is
Let's take a short break, right? When we come back, we'll talk about the